There are people throughout the world that have interesting stories to tell. Stories of heroism, acts of kindness, near-death experiences, successes, and failures. You usually hear of these stories from people that live in another state or country. But what about the stories from within your own community? Everyone has a story to tell. And by everyone, we mean your neighbor, your coworker, the person behind you at church, people you interact with on a daily basis, or maybe even you.
Welcome to the DTB Podcast, presented by the Bless Your Heart Nonprofit Corporation. I'm Brendan Mathern, and I'll be your host as we speak to some of the most interesting people on Bayou Lafourche. I'm very excited for this episode because it's our first episode about music. Anyone who knows me well knows I'm a huge music fan, and while I certainly spent my time in talk radio, I spent a lot of time DJing as well. Everything from rock, alternative, classic rock, oldies, and even Cajun and swamp pop music. One of my favorite shows, though, that I ever did was actually on the Ragin' Cajun prior to becoming ESPN New Orleans. Their tagline was all Louisiana all the time, and while they mostly played Cajun and swamp pop music, I wanted it to live up to that motto by featuring some local music that wasn't those two categories. The show was mostly local rock bands, and I was introduced to so many talented groups, not only from around the state, but from right here in Lafourche Parish as well. One of those groups was called the Dream Junkies, and today we have members of the band here with us to join us on the podcast. Joining us here in the studio is Zach Sheremy, Jerry Martin, and Lance Anselmi. Joining us on Skype from Texas is Artie Curall, and David Guidry, the fifth member of the band, is on assignment, and he couldn't join us today. But guys, thank y'all so much for joining us. We are glad to have you here in the studio.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
So we like to do a little go around the room before we get started, guys. And the first thing we ask is the same question whenever you meet anyone down the bayou is, who's your mom and dad? Where'd you grow up? Tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll start with Zach and go around.
My dad is Zach Sheremy. My mom's Mona Champagne. I'm from Cutoff. And now I live in La Rose, so I'm uptown. So we good.
Nice. Jerry?
My dad is Jerry Martin. My mom is Suzette Ducey. And I was born and raised in Leeville for 17 long years.
Way down the bayou.
Way down the bayou.
Lance?
Lance Anselmi. My dad was Harry Anselmi. My mom's Joyce Anselmi. And my dad was a much better musician than I am.
Better than most.
Great
actually.
guy, too.
And now we'll go to Artie.
Yes, Dad, now deceased, but Clement Curall from Cutoff, and Mom Gloria Calle Curall, and I grew up in La Rose.
All right, guys. Well, let's jump right into it, and let's talk about the Dream Junkies. And if you've been on the bayou, and especially if you're our age, and I'm looking around the room, we have a lot of a few different generations here, but everyone's seemingly heard of the Dream Junkies. Maybe not everyone's seen them live, but it's a name that's stuck around, and you guys have stuck around for quite a while now. So let's talk about how long you've been doing this and what some of your you've covered some of my favorite bands. I know 311, Tool, Stone Temple Pilots. Who were your influences as a band and individuals?
Who's going first?
You go first.
Alphabetical order? Yeah, Anselmi. I always get to go first. Well, we started in 94, and it was Artie and Blake Kaufman and Jerry and myself. And later on, we replaced Blake with David Guidry, and then Zach came on. And that's when I think we really, became who we are. We all had a common interest. We all wanted to play 90s rock. So as far as what songs we played, we picked songs we liked. We never came in there and said, let's play this song because it's a popular song. It's, I don't think we always played the obvious song by the band. Like Pearl Jam. We didn't play the obvious hits. We tried to find one we liked. So yeah. And personally influenced, I started playing music when I saw the Beatles when I was very, very young, and that's what made me want to play music. And my dad.
Yeah, for me, I guess personal influence. I grew up in a shrimp shed, so I was young, and these guys would come in and they would bring Rush cassettes or Led Zeppelin, and that was my inspirations and influences was Rush, Led Zeppelin, Beatles, Pink Floyd, and that's where I learned everything about music. You don't get access to cable TV or a lot of radio growing up in Leeville. So it's, people bringing things in. And so, yeah, Led Zeppelin was probably my favorite, still is my favorite band.
Helped me that my dad had a music store.
Yeah, your dad had a music
I grew
store.
up in a music store. I just look at Billboard. And, the first time I saw on a page, we saw Rush. We had no idea what it was. Mark Dufresne was working for my dad. And we just saw it, Rush, for the advertisement. First album coming out. Just to try it. We said, let's order it. It looks interesting. Yeah, well, we turn on all our friends to that stuff.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Zach.
I can remember as a kid on weekends, my dad had a old realistic tube receiver and a turntable. And if it wasn't ZZ Top, it was Eric Clapton or Pink Floyd and, a lot of 70s rock. But it was a mix because my mom liked James Taylor and Hort and stuff like that. So it was kind of a gumbo of a lot of different artists, but it opened me up to a lot of having a lot of different musical tastes. I wasn't focused just on this or that. So it was a whole bunch of stuff.
And you can tell now you play a lot of different styles of music.
Yeah.
It probably helped, huh?
Yeah.
Artie?
Yeah, so as far as influences go on my end, I grew up in the 70s and had a sister who worked in a record store. So I heard literally everything that came out in the 70s, like any style, any type of music you can imagine. But my brothers and my sister were all rock fans. So I grew up hearing, all of the great music of the 70s. And my favorites were like Queen, Beatles, ELO, and, some of the FM rock, as it was called, some of those, the Fleetwood Macs and the Styx and Journeys and all of those big, arena rock bands, but also Black Sabbath and Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and all, I heard everything. So it was all a huge influence on me. And I kind of bridged the gap a little bit between that 70s generation, I guess, and some of the rest of the group. But I think we all are just big fans of music. I think the biggest, the biggest tie that binds is we all just love music. It's not about, a particular genre or type. We just we're music junkies more than dream junkies, I guess. And it's kind of, we didn't really get caught in one style. We just love everything. And that's what kept us going.
All right, so let's talk about that. Speaking of the band name, let's talk about where did the name Dream Junkies come from?
Well, a few years before the band formed, I was living in Thibodeau for a long time, rooming with my buddy Teddy Renoise. I don't know if y'all know Teddy.
Teddy, long-time sports writer.
Oh, yeah.
Worked with him for a long time.
Anyway, it was either 91 or 92, and I was sitting at home watching a movie with a good friend of mine, Greg Groh, who recently passed away. That sucks. Anyway, we were watching a movie. The movie was called Until the End of the World, and in the movie, there was a couple of stories, but one of the main stories is this guy, William Hurt, is the main actor, and he steals this device that if you wear it and you see something, if you go back and then you go with someone who's blind, his mother was blind, and he'd put the device on his head again, and she put the device on her head, she could actually see, like really see, and she had never seen it in her life. So this is kind of one of the main stories of the movie. So him and his girlfriend are traveling around the world looking at things to go and show his mom. So one of them falls asleep with it on. And they realize the next day when they wake up that they had recorded something, so they hook it up to a monitor and they could watch their dreams and sit there and actually look at their dreams, like a movie. And that's all they wanted to do. After that, it's like they forgot about mom and they were just wanting to go to sleep and watch their dreams. And one of us, I believe I said, wow, they're dream junkies. And my friend Greg said, man, that'd be a good name for a band. So two years down the road, we formed a band, and the guy said, we need a name. I just kind of blurted that out, and they didn't know what it meant. Or somebody said, yeah, that sounds good, Dream Junkies.
I can't remember how many times that happened to me and my friends in college, but none of us were talented enough to have a band. But we came up with so many good band names.
Yeah, sometimes it just comes up. It's funny. We played one time in Mississippi, this festival, and it was to raise money to buy a drug dog, right? Well, it's cool. yeah. Well, this guy writing an article for the paper kept talking to us and kind of like trying to edge us on and say, why is the band playing like for this reason called Dream Junkies? Like it was something bad. I kept saying, it's Dream Junkies. You've heard of junk food junkies, but he wouldn't get off of it. It's like That was going to be his angle. And it's also, this is going to seem picky, but the name of the band is Dream Junkies. Not the Dream Junkies, but everybody always says, I bet you when you at the beginning of this interview, you probably said the Dream Junkies. Now you might say, Lance, you're being picky, but it's not. It was the Beatles. It's the Who. It wasn't the Led Zeppelin. It wasn't the Pink Floyd. But for some reason, people always want to put the. But no, we're just Dream Junkies.
So, guys, hearing all of your musical influences, it seems like it all started, well before 90s rock. So why 90s rock? I mean, I get it. I was a teen in the mid-90s, and right in the mid-90s where you guys got started, that was the height of the grunge era. I see Lance is still rocking the flannel, which I love that all these years later. But why? What made 90s rock the thing that brought all you guys together to want to play that?
It was the 90s.
Yeah. I think it was
really.
I think it was as simple as that. We were really into late 80s alternative rock, and it kind of led right into 90s. Mm-hmm. It was the kind of the convergence of all us playing together. It was a popular music at the time, and we just kind of went with it. We're like Artie said, we're really big music fans. So when something new came out, we all jumped on it. And at that time, it was early 90s, and I think the timing was great for us because that music was really popular. We were playing in clubs and no one else was doing that. So the younger generation coming up was listening to that, and they were able to go out and hear those songs played live. Mm-hmm. And I think the timing for us was kind of perfect.
Yeah,
us playing live.
I think so too. I think it was just a great time to be a good band playing good music.
Right.
It was. I feel bad for kids coming up now because they'll never have that again. I hope I'm wrong. I'm wrong. But
I think the 70s and the 90s, to me, as far as my life, were the best decades of music. I played music in the 80s, but I didn't really like the mainstream music. That's when alternative came about because it was an alternative to the big hair, tight pants bands and the NXS and the Fix and U2 and the Police. That's what started alternative music. And we kind of, I know you all like that stuff too. I mean, when we started out, we were playing the Police. So we played 90s music, but we still do the Clash, so it wasn't all 90s music.
All of the obscure covers that we would do was of bands that we all, we all a lot of times agreed on the song. It was.
There's a couple of songs we did we never rehearsed, just came up on stage. I don't think we had ever practiced "Message in a Bottle" the first time we played it. We just started playing it. There's a couple of songs we did that. That was fun.
We haven't played it right yet, but working on that.
And as a music fan and someone that's I've seen well over 200 bands live. I mean, you certainly love the cover songs. I mean, especially if you're going to see a national act. I mean, you love hearing all their hits, but man, when they do a cover song out of left field. But for you guys, it was sort of the opposite. I would imagine that you basically were, and when you're playing in these local clubs, you're playing mostly cover songs. Mm-hmm. But you guys did have some original music, which really kind of sets you apart from a lot of the local acts who at that time were mostly playing covers to get their gigs. And we understand that's what the crowd wanted to hear. Mm-hmm. How did it come about that you guys started making the original music? Did you set out to do that from the beginning? And were you able to kind of insert some of those into your sets?
Yeah, I don't think that was a goal at the beginning. I think we just wanted free beer and to have fun playing live. I think it happened naturally. I mean, we all kind of write.
Mostly Jerry.
Or I know I write a lot, and Artie and I would, do a lot of 4-track recordings and experimental things. And I think the influence of the 90s guitar rock kind of seeped into the songwriting, and it was just kind of a thing that happened naturally. We started working on songs, and at some point we decided to record it and put it out. We got a lot of support locally.
Oh, yeah. We still have a lot of people who want to hear it when we play. They want to hear our original music. It's like we didn't want to force it down their throat, so we just play a little bit a night, but we probably could have played more. Y'all know that.
Yeah,
we could have. But we just thought, well, they want to hear the popular stuff. We'll do maybe 3 or 4 of ours.
Yeah, well, we've even done a couple of short shows where we've done all original songs.
If we'd open for national.
I don't think any of us ever wanted to be rock stars and do this for a living and think we're going to sell 1 million records. I think our original songs exist because we want them to exist, which is the truest form of songwriting and expression. Mm-hmm. And I'm proud of what we did. I wish we'd have done more.
You released a CD. Man, and some of the people listening won't have any idea what that is, but you released an album called The Death of Privacy. Yeah. Talk about the album, its meaning, and maybe talk about some of the tracks on it.
Oh my God, Lance.
You know, I still have one with the cellophane on it and everything. Just
I do
one.
too. I do
Just
too.
one. Well, people ask me for those things all the time. Like I said, Jerry wrote most of it, and we had like a lot of songs. We got to go in a really great studio called the Baller Room. Work with a great engineer. I've said this before, but our friend Tony Hall, who's a bass player extraordinaire, played for the Nevilles for years. Played with, come on, who he played with? Bob Dylan. He's played with Jewel. He toured with Harry Connick. Anyway, he's from Thibodeau. He said, "Man, this is a studio you guys need to go to." So we looked at 2 studios. Remember that other one we went to? It was like very like sterile. Everything was real clean and silver, and like you were in a. And then we went to the Baller Room, and it just the feeling in there. You know, you had rugs, and it was warm. You just wanted to play music. And when we went in there, he said, "I'll be right with you guys." He was talking with Charmaine Neville. So we said, "Okay, Charmaine." And then in the corner, there was a drum kit that said "Better Than Ezra," and we started thinking, "This is probably a good place," you know. And then Mark Bingham, the engineer, had done so much, you know, so many things, like REM, that they had won a Grammy. He did some engineering and the string arrangement on, what's the name of the song? Losing My Religion. Yeah, he did all that. And he had the. We've said this before, but it was cool. He didn't really brag about it too much. He had a plaque in the bathroom. When you'd go take a leak, that's when you saw the plaque that he had won a Grammy. You know, he didn't have it right when you came in, like, "Oh, look at this plaque with this Grammy." He had it in the toilet.
Wow.
But it was really great experience to be in a really good studio and get to do our music. It was great.
So you guys obviously, other than the CD, you guys were known for playing live, and I'm sure a lot of people listening have seen you at least once, probably several times. I know you last played the French Food Festival. You played the last French Food Festival, which was 2019, which is hard to believe 3 years later. But many people have fond memories of watching you at the Greenhouse in La Rose. Can you talk about some of the places you've played, and what's your most memorable gigs?
I mean, the Greenhouse and Hots. It was kind of it was. I mean, we kind of paid the rent on that place for quite a few years.
For sure.
I think memorable gigs were like when we played at places like Jimmy's or like Keystones in Metairie. And then the national acts that we got to share stage with, live Oleander, Everclear, and Thibodeau. That kind of stuff was just, to be a kid playing music with these guys that I looked up to. It was just, it was like a dream being able to do it and then getting paid for it. Mm-hmm. And getting paid well for it. But it was, or we would do the TV show in Houma. Laid back. Yeah. Yeah. And you'd be walking through Southland Mall, and some kids would stop you, or you'd be staring at you like, "Man, we saw you on TV." Yeah. I mean, it was so low budget, but I mean, it was cool at 18, 19 years old.
Oh, they did a good job.
Yeah, favorite places. I mean, like the Greenhouse, as they mentioned, it was like home base for us for years, and we had periods where. We started out at Flanagan's, and I still have fond memories of that because we weren't really a band. And Lance had an acoustic gig at Flanagan's. So he would play Thursday nights, and Flanagan's is where people went, in the college town to go before hitting the other bars. Mm-hmm. So Lance is playing acoustic shows, and it's all great. And he invites us to play with him. So we end up playing with Lance, and it turns into a tornado in this little restaurant bar. It was way louder than it should have been. It was like a mess, but people stayed. Like, we kept people in Flanagan's the whole night, and it turned into a rock show where it should have been an acoustic show. And then we, quickly kind of realized, okay, we're a rock band, and we got an opening slot with a band called Pepper Jelly. And then we started, I think that might be the first Greenhouse show that we played. But we ended up having that as a home base. Like, we could go through a lull and not have a lot of shows. And if we, we would never get down because we knew we were going back to the Greenhouse in a few weeks. It was just always it was a wonderful show every time we played there. The other shows were great memories, Everclear and live, and we even opened up for Rick Springfield.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Nice. We had so many wonderful shows. The Greenhouse is just always a good memory.
Yeah. I'll never forget when we opened for Rick Springfield. Yeah, we came out. None of us had gone to the audience. We come out and we see nothing but women. I was like, damn, girls like Dream Junkies, huh? Nothing but women, like from 18 to 60, just chicks. They dug Dream Junkies,
That was the
man.
gig my mom tried to get to.
So when you think about bands, and I think about some of the national, I always think about, a lot of times they make a name for themselves, or they have that biggest memory of something that happened on stage. So let's talk about you guys and any crazy stories about anything that's happened on stage.
My favorite one, and I said it the last time we were on the podcast, and I'll never forget it, because only in the rules, or only down the by, this would happen. We were playing, and right next to the greenhouse, we played this old seafood, and we were playing, and Jerry taps me, and he makes me look down, and on his pedal, his volume pedal's a crawfish, a live crawfish, just looking up at him like, with the pincher saying, come on, put your foot right here, buddy. I said, a crawfish on the stage while we're playing. So that's kind of strange. That doesn't happen too many places or to too
Only
many
down the
bands.
bayou,
And,
right?
he got away. I remember looking. I thought we were going to step on him. We never could find him. He came, checked out the band, and just scooted out of there, I guess.
I think my favorite memory, and I'm going to bring it up in very high level, Lance, is we might be the only band where our lead singer got arrested during the gig and came back and finished the gig. I won't mention what he got arrested for, because I think Brennan might have some.
Yeah, I also remember, there's a few things I did that was probably embarrassing. Yeah, we took a break. I went out with this girl, and we did something that was illegal, and, got put in jail real quick, and the guy even said, look, I got to put you in, but you can be able to come right out, because my brother-in-law was there to bail me out already. Brought me back to the place, and I went up and finished, got back, did the last set. What you want to
So
do?
not just arrested, you got arrested and booked and came
I
back
got
and
arrested
finished
booked
the set.
during a break. Yeah,
He got put in jail and came back and finished the show.
That made us a legitimate rock
That
band.
may be, I don't know any other band that has that story they could tell.
Yeah. Okay. It wasn't my proudest moment, but hey, it happened.
It was great.
It wasn't that bad.
It was greatness.
I got caught smoking weed. Okay, that's what happened.
Hey, Grandal.
All right. There, it happened in Grand Isle for the rodeo. With
so
a
much
packed
fun.
house.
It's more
at the place.
impressive that you got to finish the set
Yeah.
in Grand Isle for Tarpon Rodeo.
Hey, I'm a professional. I remember playing in Thibodeau at Kamoi's place. We went to eat Chinese food, and the first set, I turned around puking right in front of all these drum set. Y'all remember that one?
Yeah.
They had to come mop it up. Hey, we kept going though.
remember that.
Yeah, I'm a pro.
So that incident happened during Tarpon Rodeo.
Yeah.
That explains it. They needed to make room for you. at
Yeah,
the
yeah,
rodeo,
Yeah,
basically.
it was kind of like a drive-through thing.
They made you sit and think about what you did for a little while before they let you go.
Yeah, I did some community service. I'm good. I learned my lesson. I never smoked weed again.
So on to the rest of the story. So guys, what we want to know, I'm sure, again, anybody listening that heard y'all live would be interested to find out where you guys are now in life and what's going on outside of the band. Let's kind of go around the room and talk about what are you guys individually doing? What are your current endeavors outside of the Dream Junkies?
I'll go first. I am in a wedding band called The Groove, as well as Nola Dukes. Pretty much playing weddings, private parties every weekend. I'm also doing a lot of studio work. I've probably somewhere over 20 records since the Dream Junkies, either as producer or studio guitarist. So still writing, still putting things out. So it's kind of what I'm up to.
Lance?
Oh, well, let's see. We do get together and play now and then. We played like about a month ago. I was doing this acoustic duo thing with my friend Carl Dufresne, who passed away recently. So I'm going to start doing it again, just acoustic solo thing. Lately, I've been working a lot. I like working in film, doing like background acting and body double work, and that's what I've pretty much been doing lately. That's it.
Zach?
I play in a wedding band also, Velvet Sky. I fill in with some guys from Grand Isle, Shorts in December. I fill in for Jerry when he goes to concerts with The Groove and Nola Dukes. And Jerry comes sit in with us whenever we can have him. We do gigs with other projects that we doing. I do solo gigs. I do fill-in gigs. But between the two of us, I think we the one in first and second call fill-in guy, and it all depends on who gets called first.
Yeah, Zach and I play together pretty much every weekend, and it's usually a different band or situation.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Artie?
Yeah, I've got the most, I guess, boring musical life. These guys are still like pros. I'm in the minor leagues now. I play at church occasionally, and I write terrible songs in my bedroom.
I'm pretty sure they're not terrible.
Artie's being humble.
Yeah,
he's
he's
a
always
fantastic musician,
Yeah.
great songwriter, and he puts out great records.
And very humble guy.
Yes. Love you, Artie.
Love you, bro.
We have some of our best stories right before we start recording. So we'd love to hear what one of your fondest memories, a great story is from your times, especially going all the way back to the mid-'90s when you first got started.
We had so many fun shows and memorable shows. And in the, I guess, mid-'90s, that early to mid-'90s period you're talking about was crazy times, I guess, when all the crazy stuff happened. But I remember a show, and we used to play at Doug's. What was it, Reruns down there in Galliano?
Oh, yeah, I know where this is going.
We had some of these places that, we played there multiple times, but I would tend to forget we played there because we used to get free alcohol. So one of those nights where we were playing there, and I don't know why, but we drank too much almost every time we played there. But I remember this one night that we were playing, and we're in the middle of a song, and we're, I think, I was kind of playing drums, but not really, like almost like I was like air drumming, but I had sticks in my hands kind of. And look over at Jerry, and Jerry's rocking out, but his amp is not working. Like there's no sound coming out of his amp, and he was rocking like it was a music video. And I don't know why, but at that point I just kind of woke up enough that it stuck in my mind. The memory lasted, but the night probably lived on in infamy for anybody who was there. we had a few interesting shows like that got a little rough towards the end of the night.
We did one. Remember I think it was New Year's Eve, and there was another club for a while in the parking lot of the greenhouse. Remember, It was another big club, another Kaboom's.
Yeah.
And Perry Gisclair and them band, I forgot the name of it.
Masquerade
was playing, and we were playing at the greenhouse. Both of these bands drank lots and lots of electricity. All right, wasn't it New Year's Eve? Or I know it was some holiday show, but anyway, parking lot's packed because both places are packed. I mean, they drew a lot of people too, and we blew the transformer in the front, and no electricity. So Ethan Chemmy had the place at the time, and somebody came with the bright idea: let's get a bunch of ice chests of beer, put the headlights on some cars, and go out there and we could play and sing a little bit. And I think we went doing a few songs outside with the headlights.
Both bands.
And Perry grabbed the guitar and came over, and we played a little bit outside in the parking lot with the headlights of the cars, and drinking out the ice chests. Yeah. I'll never forget that because I thought that's a good effort. Like, we weren't like Ethan didn't want to give up. We didn't want to give up. No electricity. Well, what can we do?
Yeah, we weren't rival bands.
Running around with flashlights.
They came out and let's play together.
They came out.
That was great. I remember that.
That's something that always stuck with me.
And you gave those people a story that they'll
I'm
tell.
I'm pretty
to
sure.
Day.
Yeah. I always like playing for Mardi Gras too. When the girls ride up at the stage and they lift their shirts. That stuff happens. That was all. Come on.
Well,
don't have some fun.
Yeah, there's so many. The one that just stuck into my head was you and I. I'm looking at Zach now. For people who can't see us, we're playing at Tarpon Rodeo, and you and I were standing on top of the speakers, soaking people with super soakers.
Right.
Because the air condition broke in Daddy's Money, and there was like 1,400 people.
Allegedly, the air condition broke.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
And I just remember standing there, and I don't even think my guitar was on. And I think Artie might have still been playing. I don't know what was happening. And I was just shooting like a sea of people with this big super soaker.
You probably could tell we had a drinking problem.
And I was gonna. That's probably one of my favorite, just like funny, weird stories, because I remember you and I going on a beer run to Morton Wine Cellar in Metairie, and getting like you got Sammy Hagar tequila. We bought Red Stripe, and they had just started bottling Turbo Dog.
Yes.
So we bought 2 cases of that. When we show up to Grand Isle, there's 248 quart ice chests of Miller Lite on each side of the stage. So we dumped the beer in the ice chest. Lance had a bottle of J&B. And when we finished playing, there was like 7 Miller Lights in one ice chest and 2 fingers left in the bottle of J&B. And that's it. And it's a
funny
sea.
how you can
It's a
drink more when
sea
you're
of.
playing music,
It's
too,
a
huh?
sea of cans.
I'm not
you know?
even
Is that a
kidding.
thing?
I'm not
Yeah.
even kidding. I was able to drink much more when I was playing with Dream Junkies than I ever could just sit down at a bar and drink. Maybe it's because you're like exerting and you're sweating and you're concentrating, so you're kind of maybe fighting it. But I know we used to drink like way too much, and then we got where we just stopped. And we said, okay, and we didn't, but that didn't hold for too long. We just said, okay, well, how about just 1 or 2 shots? And then we drink a little, but I don't think we ever got as bad as we were at one time.
No.
You know.
I mean, I don't drink at all now.
It's
So
like it wasn't an issue almost. Like we normally were fine. Like we would drink a fair amount, but
Yeah.
we were fine because we were working it off.
Yeah, it helps. If you're up there playing, you could drink a lot more. There you go. That's a lesson for you kids. Play music, you could drink a lot more.
yeah.
So guys, now it's 2022, and obviously the music scene has changed a lot, but people still long for that era of music. And so I got to ask, what's the current status of the band? We mentioned earlier you guys have played shows in recent years. What's the current status of the band, and could we ever see you guys play again?
Sure.
Yeah, okay, cool. So I just got permission from the event organizer to announce this. October 1st, we're going to be playing at something called the Bayou Terrebonne Tailgate. It's going to be a festival. There's going to be a few other bands. Zach and I are in some of the other bands too playing that day. So that's going to be a really cool festival. So October 1st, we'll be headlining that.
And when was it? Is the same people
The same
that
people that
we
just
just
put on.
played a festival, what, last month?
The Bayou
Yeah.
Boucherie.
And boy, they know how to put on a festival.
Great.
It was fantastic. No charge. It was free. A lot of good bands and just set up. I could just go on and on how they did a great job. So yeah, October. What is it?
October 1st.
October 1st in Houma,
In Houma.
downtown.
It's
Yeah.
2022. Who would have thought we on our second gig?
2 gigs.
2022
in
gigs
one
in 1
year.
year.
Hey, look, we don't look for gigs. We're all
might have
very
to practice.
busy. We all have things going on, but if we're asked to play, we pretty much 99% of the time we'll say yes. It's kind of where we're at.
Artie's he's out of state, so it's quite a drive for him to come from Katy, Texas. So I guess
we
don't-
look for opportunities to visit family. It's great to visit family and to see the guys again, like just to visit. It would be worth it to me just to see everyone for an hour, but then getting to play with these guys is a treat. So, I wish it happened more often.
Who knows? It might be a trend that's starting.
So guys, that's pretty much all I had. Is there anything else that y'all wanted to talk about? Any other stories y'all wanted to bring up?
The only thing I'd like to say also is that Death of Privacy is available on all streaming services. Not really.
Yeah.
Sounds like I'm pushing something, but if anyone wants to hear it, they don't have to search for a CD. They can go on Apple Music, Amazon, Spotify. It's out there. So we have music out there to go click and listen to.
Yeah, it's 11 out of the, 14?
18.
18.
Was it? I thought it
18
was
songs.
I thought it was 14
There's an
songs.
intro and an outro.
I thought it was
that's
16
plus
but
an intro
14 songs.
and 16 songs.
16 songs. We're not doing it.
Intro and outro.
Was I even on that thing?
We took our shot. We took our shot.
Yeah.
Was I there?
Yeah. Well.
Okay.
you-
No, I've
70
seen video.
You've seen video. Yeah,
I've
yeah,
seen
yeah,
video,
yeah.
so I know I was there. Yeah, jumping on a trampoline.
Trampoline. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun studio.
All right, guys. Well, this is the portion we always like to have some fun with our guests. It's time for our rapid fire questions.
Oh, boy.
This, you can give us a one-word answer, or you can expand on it if you feel the need to explain. So it's up to you. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Sure, I think so.
All right. So we'll start with Zach. We'll go Zach, Jerry, Lance, and Artie for each of these. All right. So what's your go-to order at a down the bayou restaurant?
Fried shrimp po' boy.
I would say bang bang shrimp at Jeremy's. Getting very
Love it.
specific.
My second.
it.
That's
No,
my
I love
second.
it.
That's
Yeah.
my second. That's my second.
I'm going to say fried shrimp po' boy, but since you said it, I'm going to take my second, a roast beef po' boy.
Okay. That's
Down the
strong.
Bayou's always had some great roast
So far, 3
That's strong.
classics now.
That's strong.
Let's go to
We
Artie.
didn't leave
You
nothing
mentioning-
for
you
Artie.
mentioning a restaurant, or we
Yeah,
just
no,
beef.
oyster
Famous,
po' boy.
always.
Oyster po' boy. There we go.
That's strong too.
Yeah, four strong choices. You guys are off to a great start. All right. What is your favorite Cajun word or phrase and its meaning?
Bruh. And it's like the greatest word that's kind of evolved into, somebody passes away, bruh.
Yeah.
Somebody does something stupid, bruh. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of, there's so many,
many meanings.
What's that, bruh? You know what I mean? It's
The
like
inflection.
it's all
I
inflection.
never thought of that, Zach.
Yeah.
We might have to do a whole show on the word bruh.
And the different meanings.
And Shaws. That's
Shaws.
two separate shows.
Shaws or Keck Shaws.
I mean,
you want to get.
There's a show, bruh.
I'm gonna go with where,
That's my second.
and that means yeah, and all of the ways you can say yeah.
If you want to throw web, it's web. We got that one going
Web.
back and
Oh,
forth.
that-
Jerry and I, that was a thank God for spell check because it turned into a thing now.
Yeah, where would be mine.
Bruh's my favorite too, because me and my kids, we call each other bruh and T-bruh, and they call me T-dad, and I call them T-bruh. But I can tell you my least favorite thing that Cage just said, a bunch, mid-air. Oh my God, I have to all the time, mid-air. Preface everything with mid-air, so I just want to throw that out there.
Thanks.
That's the one I
Least
don't.
and favorite.
Least favorite, mid-air.
Cool, thanks.
Mid-air, I don't like when people say mid-air.
All right, Artie.
I'm gonna go with Moshkwani Pa.
Perfect.
Strong.
All right. So, favorite snowball flavor?
I'm going old school, and it's a coconut with condensed milk from Grom's in Gallion.
Oh, I miss Groms. That's right by my house.
We have not had somebody bring that up yet, I don't think.
I'm going coconut Elaine's.
Definitely heard a few Elaine's.
Black cherry.
Oh, that's a good one. Artie?
And same as Zach. Zach stole mine.
Sorry.
It's
Those
popular.
are very specific. You guys know your snowball. Art.
Yes, we do.
Spearmint would be a second one, but it's only because my grandpa loves spearmint snowballs, and I never got it. But if I want to chew gum, I'm going to chew gum. But gum and a snowball is,
So look, to set up our fourth question, in our first season, nearly everyone we interviewed had their Hurricane Betsy story. And, we're just coming off the heels last year of Hurricane Ida. So we figured most people are going to have a Hurricane Ida story that we interview. And we didn't get into that with you guys, but that brings up our next point is next hurricane. Are you staying or evacuating?
out. I'm going. And it started really from Zeta, because we stayed with my in-laws in the next street because it was just a safe space, and we saw how bad it was, and it was moving.
Right.
It passed through quick. So fast forward to Ida, I had just came off of recovering from COVID, and was still not 100%. And my brother-in-law lives in Texas, and probably the Thursday night, my wife's like, well, so we're going to go stay by my mom's. I'm like, I don't know what you doing. Zach's packing the truck tomorrow morning, and I'm leaving. Like, I'm still recovering from, being sick. And it's just stuff, I love where I live. I love my community. I wish everybody well. But when it comes time to take off, I'm grabbing my family and I'm going. I heard all the horror stories from family that had stayed, and it was like, I don't want to deal with.
I'm with Zach. I grew up in Leeville. I've seen things. I'm out.
A lot of the things you saw growing up are no longer there.
Right, yeah, right. Yeah.
I don't know. I stayed for the last two. I was here for Ida. I got video of watching the Bayou overflow and rush. I had a vest in my hand thinking, but the levees held. And if it's, let's say, maybe another Ida, I'm going to go. But if it's not 4 or something like that, I'm not going. I'll stay. I like watching Mother Nature. It was actually kind of interesting to see it. I was by the window the whole time and outside checking it out.
So a major hurricane you'd consider leaving, but anything else you want to stay behind?
I had to stay with the pets. My sister-in-law left, and I stayed with the pets. But I enjoy.
That's always something people have to consider.
The only time
That sounds suspect.
when I saw the water coming over the bayou, it was rushing up the bayou really fast. I got on video. Like I said, that's the only time I was a little worried because I thought maybe the levee had broke. But then I realized it was rushing really fast, and it seemed like it just came over the locks, which, you know.
Right.
So, you know, thank God we have Wendell Curall that's always been in charge of our levee system, and our levee held. So, yeah, I'm not going nowhere unless it's another really bad one.
Artie?
Yeah. I moved here to avoid all of that and to give everybody.
He's in Katy,
Very
Texas.
proactive.
So you guys are all welcome to come over here.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, that sounds great.
We'll note that.
If it's bad enough, Artie.
Was that an invitation to all the listeners too, or
No, just Dream
Up
Junkies.
to 14.
All right, so this
First
is
lucky 14 get a spot on the air mattress.
This has been a hot topic, especially with some local people and some local celebrities here. So we have to know your take on this: jambalaya or pastalaya?
No, jambalaya.
Yeah, jambalaya.
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 Man,
Crawfish pie, filet gumbo. We're traditionalists. We're old school.
Not knocking pastalaya.
No, it's good.
just not
I
my
like
go-to. I've never woke up on a Sunday morning and said, "It'd be really good if my wife cooked a really good pastalaya." It's not. You know. And now, playing a lot of weddings, I have had some really good pastalaya, but I would take my wife's jambalaya over pastalaya any day.
that's fair.
You got to think we grew up with jambalaya too. There's memories there.
Yeah,
It's like
Yeah.
a fingerprint, you know, like gumbo. Like
Exactly.
jambalaya is like a signature. And
Every
it's-
Sunday we had gumbo growing up when I was a kid. Just like religiously. Every Sunday.
So you say every Sunday.
Every Saturday we had a roast. It was
Yo, ate a
pork
lot
or
of
beef.
gumbo.
But, oh God, we still do gumbo on Sunday.
Red or brown?
That's a Cajun thing.
Jambalaya?
What?
Oh yeah, so let's go to that. Since we're 100% jambalaya, let's go a little bit deeper. Red or brown?
Brown.
I
Artie?
like red.
Oh, we
You
got
rebel.
We got some
He's a
dissension
rebel.
among the ranks.
Ah.
That's my mom always made a red one, and it was the best thing in the world.
It's okay. We let
Yeah,
you have
but
it.
my mom didn't even make a brown jambalaya until I was an adult. It was always red. I grew up. I didn't even have brown jambalaya. I don't think until I was in my teens. So, but look, guys, we sincerely appreciate it. And look, I don't want to put you guys on the spot or anything, but since you're still making music together, man, do we need a show intro for this podcast? So I'm just throwing it out there. Since you guys said you don't say no to a gig,
I'm down. Let's do it.
We got to work on that.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
But we would love to hear that. But we so sincerely thank you guys for joining us and taking time out of your schedule to join us. We look forward to that gig on October 1st. This show will air way before that, so hopefully a lot of your fans that listen to you growing up, they can make it out there and see you guys again. But thank y'all so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
And on that intro, you went like Cajun punk rock. What do you want here?
Look, we're gonna give it to y'all, man. I would never tell you how to do your job. So,
All right.
well, that'll do it for this episode of the DTB Podcast. I want to thank our producer, Ross Jeanbaugh, our executive producers, Sheree Gyro and Hillary Crum, and the rest of the Bless Your Heart nonprofit board members, Luke Newman and Chris Brantley. Be sure to follow and subscribe to the DTB Podcast on Facebook, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also get more content by following us on Twitter and TikTok at the DTB Podcast. I'm Brennan Mathern. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.